everybody. Welcome to Getting to Know Trees, Creative Explorations with Jason McInnes. I'm Jason McInnes. Getting to Know Trees is all about exploring creativity, sharing my process and the process of my friends and the people I don't even know yet, creative people all around. You can check out knowingtrees.com is the page. And if you go to knowingtrees.com/offerings, that's where I have a lot of videos. There's some guitar lessons up there. Just recently, I had our good friend Maria McCullough shared a song and a video essay. There's a new piece of music from one of my teen music students. And then recently, the one and only, the mayor of Bucktown, Kevin Burrows, wrote a little essay for the page that I was very happy to share. This is the very first interview for the page, and I'm so happy to be talking with one of my very closest friends, Jonas Friddle. Hey, Jonas. Thanks for getting things together today for our chat.
Yeah, Jay. Yeah, you say that like you know how hard it is for me to get things together.
Yeah, get the microphones and everything all situated, maybe on a day off, isn't always the easiest thing to do. I asked Jonas to join us today because, number one, he's just an incredible musician and songwriter. And number two, he has a new record coming out.
Yeah.
The show, a record release show, is coming up. Is it February 5th at
Space in Evanston.
Space? The new record, Jug Band Happy Hour.
Yeah, Jug Band Happy Hour.
Is the title? Yeah. So, you and I have played a lot of jug band music before, and
the Wampler's Jug Stompler.
And yeah, right. We've been in the bands way back when we were first getting to know each other. We were in a band together for a few weeks.
Yeah,
I think we even won a contest.
Yeah, there's a lot of contests in jug band music.
Yeah. So, it's jug band, I feel, is a term that people might be familiar with, but not. What is jug band? When you think of jug band music, what do you hear?
A lot of people have, if they don't know jug band music, then some of people maybe my age or a little older know the Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas special that Jim Henson did, I think like 1979 or something like that. Mostly, like, people will recognize it for its use of homemade instruments. So whenever you see somebody playing a washboard or spoons and the jug, washtub bass, kazoos, those kinds of things kind of signify jug band music. But really, it's at the core of it, it's just a little subgenre of the early blues that was going on in the early 1920s, particularly in spots like Memphis, Tennessee. So it fits right in there with a lot of early blues music that maybe people are more familiar with.
Mm-hmm. And what was your early exposure to this type of music?
Oh, yeah. You had something to do with that, Jay. When I moved to Chicago, right? You took me down to and we met each other first week or so I was here, and we were getting to know each other, and you took me down to the Hideout to see Devil in a Woodpile play in the front room there.
Yeah.
Right? So that's one of Chicago's early blues and jug band bands. Joel Patterson, Rick Sherry, just fantastic. And I loved it. And then it happened that not much later than that, I saw a screening of a documentary at the Old Town School of Folk Music on Gus Cannon, one of the original jug band musicians, wrote a lot of jug band tunes, including the wildly popular Walk Right In, Sit Right Down. And I saw that documentary, and I was listening to the tunes in it, and realized I already knew several of the songs through other avenues, that this man had written, and decided I wanted to play jug band music. I think it was right after watching the film. Uh, we're out having a beer and deciding to knock some of these tunes around. Hence the Womplers Jug Stomplers that quickly morphed into the Bare Hand Jug Band.
Let's take a moment and I'm going to play just a little bit of some Gus Cannon.
Yeah.
Won't glide in and ride down, and baby, let your mind roll on. Hey, walk right in, tell them why, but daddy, you can't stay too long. Not everybody talking about that evil way walking. Do you wanna do the mine? Hey, walk right in, and ride down, and daddy, let your mind go on. Hey, won't find you if I don't.
What was the going on with the Bare Hand Jug Band?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was a really really fun time, and where that band was going on as I simultaneously as I was learning about that genre of music. So like every time you discover a new tune, you could bring it to the band and play it, and we were having a good time. It was mostly a group of friends. There was so my good buddy Clay Goodpasture. He had played tuba in high school, so we managed to find a tuba for him. We actually we found two pieces of the band equipment was when Marshall Fields closed and Macy's took Marshall Fields over in Chicago. They were selling all of the stuff they used to use for window displays, and on the storefront, Christmas displays and all those kinds of things. And so we were able to pick up a tuba and this huge old bass drum, red, white, and blue, rope bound bass drum that when you looked inside you could see was made in Piccadilly Circus, right? So it's and super old, like vintage stuff. I don't know, like we probably paid $40 or something, and so we got that tuba, and then we turned that bass drum into a one-string bass. We used one of those giant Heineken beer cans as the bridge, and worked out a little broomstick and a little fretboard made out of some molding. Yeah, we were just figuring it out and having a good time, and we ended up playing quite a bit down at the Hideout, which was the very first place I'd seen Devil in a Woodpile with you, and kind of nice little full circle jug band moment.
Yeah. So, what was it like to be in that room? That's a pretty legendary room in Chicago, the front room of the Hideout Inn.
Oh man, it's just some of the best times, some of the best musical times I've ever had. And so, yeah, I spent a lot of time there, having a lot of fun, making a lot of mistakes, and learning how to be in a room and pay attention to the people who are listening to you.
It wasn't until we were talking earlier in the week that you pointed out that the cover of the new record is actually set at the Hideout.
Yeah, the artist who did the artwork, his name is Phineas X. Jones, and he's done a few pieces of work for me, previous records. Really love Phineas's work, and Phineas also has an enjoyment of like jug band blues. He's familiar with it, and he also has affection for the Hideout, which if you've been to the Hideout, you'll recognize kind of the curve of the bar and the mirror and everything that's hanging out there with those alley critters playing the instruments.
So when was this that you were playing down at the Hideout regularly?
Oh, a while back. Oh, goodness. I mean, I've been here for a while now, so it's hard to say, but probably, I don't know, 10 or 8 years or something like that. It's been a good bit since we were down there doing those. doing those shows.
How do you describe what is the direction that your music has gone?
Yeah,
Between those days at the front room of the Hideout and what you were doing, the last place you go was that was the last record.
yeah, the previous record to this one is the last place to go. Um, yeah, it's so like I said, when I got to Chicago, and like jug band, that was new to me. I was just learning about it, and I was starting the band and having a good time with it. So that was a particular thing that was going on then. But I had been playing old time music and bluegrass kind of music well before, and I had been writing songs well before that too. So I had been doing quite a few other kind of musical directions and before this kind of popped up. And once the Bare Hand Jug Band kind of came and went, I resumed my work in sort of old time influenced songwriting, and did several records with that, and even moved on with a group I called the Majority, which was like a super group, which would fall even under like what people call folk pop or something like that. So heavily arranged modern folk music.
Yeah, and you were saying on the Jug Band Happy Hour how you were kind of maybe bringing together some parts of your creativity, your music that can be compartmentalized a little bit but then come together on this record. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's really fair to say. I know, like the artwork and the title, I'm realizing now, having started to promote it, might be a little misleading. It might make it feel like we're getting ready to get a traditional jug band record. But the title itself, Jug Band Happy Hour, is taken from one of the tracks. The last track on the album is titled Jug Band Happy Hour, and it's a song I wrote. It's a reflection on those gigs that the Bare Hand Jug Band would play in the at the Hideout. And so it is modern, it is modern songs. It's new songs that I've written, and even though like the arrangements and things are heavily influenced by jug band chord progressions and themes, it's still I think it's not an attempt to write something that would sound like an old jug band record. It's still my writing and so, my current musical sensibilities.
Yeah. Hey, let's take a moment and listen to a little bit of the Jug Band Happy Hour, the last song on the new record, also called the Jug Band Happy Hour.
The Marlin's ashamed of his broken nose. He's hanging on the dance floor wall. The water cooler wants his baseball team and suspects the old disco ball. The place has been waiting like a fairy tale to awake with a kiss and a laugh. And the time has come when the last of the sun sneaks in through the Coke bottle glass. And your work is all done, let the music begin. The mouthpiece is stuck in the tube again. God bless this happy hour. Oh, didn't we work for our pay? And if I had to choose between the evening news and the jug band blues, then I'd say it's the Jug Band Happy Hour at the Hideout in tonight. Oh,
I feel like I hear a sensibility or an arranging or like a lyrical style that reminds me a lot of kind of I don't even know what genre to call it, but it was people who were playing acoustic guitar in the mid 70s, late 70s. Is that music you listen to? Is that something that you try to put in there?
That's interesting. No, yeah, I don't know. I don't try, but I definitely grew up listening to Paul Simon, a lot of Jackson Browne, which I think falls probably right in that time frame.
Mm-hmm.
Those were a couple of my favorites. Probably, James Taylor, if you're trying to think of like that era of people playing acoustic folk music. Yeah, I mean those in particular would be big ones of that sort of like singer-songwriter, post-rock, acoustic rock, folk kind of things. Yeah, nothing consciously, but that's I definitely listen to a ton of it. So I mean, it's got to be rattling around in there somewhere.
Do the themes of that, singer-songwriter, acoustic singer-songwriter side of your music and the jug band music, is that pretty seamless to be able to move between, or is it a working of one or the other?
Yeah, I don't think so. That's a question, because I like to mix in, some of the shows and things I do. I like to try and mix in some the jug band stuff or the jug band influence stuff along with the songs that I write that maybe are more consistent with like a singer-songwriter feeling, and it can be hard to move between, if you're trying to write a song about something highly internally emotional or things. I don't do too many of those, but trying to put that back to back with a song about chicken or gravy, it can be a bit of a juxtaposition. It can be a bit of a change. So writing this record, trying to maybe keep it from, because I got at least 2, maybe 3 songs about chickens, and 1 or 2 about barbecue, but trying to not make it, trying to find a place where it still has a song that might resonate to somebody, like listening to it, like maybe it's applicable still. Some of those themes and what they represented, kind of taking them out of their real purpose and then turning them into some sort of archetypal metaphor or something for, I don't know, what's a chicken in the modern times.
One of my favorite songs on the Jug Band Happy Hour record, maybe just because it brings back a lot of good memories for me, is the barbecue. Is that one that you feel like does that walk between kind of a song about barbecue, but also about the themes of life?
I think it does. I think it does. That was that one just started off. Sometimes when you're writing, and if you've gone on a period of not writing, or the classic writer's block, the advice that always comes up is write what you know. And so I just sat down and I was like, okay, I gotta get back into the flow of things. I'll just start with something I know how to do. And I make a lot of smoked barbecue in my backyard here. And so, I just started I wrote down my recipe at the beginning of the song, and how I make pulled pork, and then kind of let it go from there. So I think it does. I think it transitions from maybe one of your classic just songs about food and it kind of gets into the feeling of the time, because that was some odd times we've gone through recently.
Hey, let's take a moment and listen to a little bit of Low and Slow from Jonas Frittle's new album, Jug Band Happy Hour.
You set the smoke to 225. You salt the pork shoulder overnight. You rub in the cayenne, the mustard, and the pepper. Pull out your folding chair, you sit there forever. If there's one thing I know how to do, I make the pulled pork barbecue, and I sit in the smoke. I watch the world go up in flames, up in flames. Some people gonna give up the ghost, some visualize what they want the most, while some see Jesus in a piece of toast. One time
Back with Jonas Friddle, whose new record, Jug Band Happy Hour, comes out. When's the release date, Joe?
January 30th is when it will become available streaming. But this coming Monday, which is what, the 17th? The 17th, people will be able to get it early off of my website or Bandcamp. So it won't be streaming until the end of the month. But if people want to download it, they can grab it early from those two places. And then, of course, if anybody still gets CDs, those can be physically gotten at one of the shows or at the release show on February 5th.
I was listening back to some of your early albums over the week, preparing for this and thinking about the new record. And I feel like a theme that comes through with your music is one of kind of people striking out for some kind of fortune or to have an adventure. Something like I was listening to the Drilling for Oil song, people out in the world doing their thing, and then like a song like Hook in a Harness from the Majority record, and then thinking about the characters from the Jug Band Happy Hour song. Does that striking out to make something happen, is that something that you feel is on your mind?
That's interesting question. I don't know. I wouldn't say. I would say I like strong characters, and I like to read. Like one of my favorite books is Lonesome Dove. Right. I like strong characters striking out to do things. It's kind of like basically that whole novel, right? So, So I mean, if I'm trying to write something that's interesting to me, then it makes sense that those are the characters that kind of show up. And again, I don't think that's any kind of conscious choice, but surely I'm surely more interested in those kind of characters than maybe like internally focused.
What are some of the other themes of jug band music that you find yourself incorporating into the new album?
So jug band music themes. I mean, a lot of the themes that are the themes that you would think, right? So you always got love, money, and maybe there's a little more food based songs in the genre. So the look, I don't know, I feel like a lot of times in the jug band blues, the take on love is maybe a little more wink and a nod. Like it's got a little more humor to it. It's not quite so romantic, in the sense of like writing these huge endearing love songs that are going to woo somebody. Sometimes, it's a song about chasing people around with a spatula or something in the kitchen, or the money songs are a lot of exclusively probably about not having it, and maybe somebody else does have it. There's a few money songs that showed up. Millionaire is one of them on the new record, and Let Me Look After Your Money. That's a Money song that popped
Yeah,
up.
yeah, that's a favorite. I really,
Yeah.
yeah,
I like that one.
yeah.
It's got um, Anna Jacobson, Lindsay Weinberg, and Nora O'Connor do these backup vocals on that one. It sounds, that makes me grin. Makes me real happy. Yeah, go some money songs, some love songs that are either, um, uh, Lonesome, Up Ahead is one of those love songs. Um, then right next to it, we got a couple of tunes on there that are traditional jug band tunes. So, that Lonesome Train That Carried My Baby Away, that's, Charlie McCoy. So we got a couple of Lonesome tunes in there, and that one, fit a train in there. So we covered our bases on train. Yeah. So, and then you mentioned Low and Slow, that covered some of our food bases. We got a traditional, What's That Taste Like Gravy? The King David's Jug Band. We put that one on there. That was one that the Berrien Jug Band used to do a lot, and I've continued to do that one through the years. So Rick Sherry plays that one. One of our great harmonica players here in Chicago, who was one of the members of Devil in the Woodpile. He's playing harmonica on that tune, and a couple of others. Yeah, so I feel like we covered a lot of those classic jug band themes there across these tunes.
In listening to the record, there was a line from the Jug Band Happy Hour song that really struck me, and it's the I can't don't remember the lead in, but you're as old as they say, and they're never as young as you feel.
Yeah.
Was something about that really hit me. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, it just goes to show you're as old as you say and never as young as you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like I said, it's, these tunes, like, are reflecting on those times, so they're particularly in that song. It's a lot of reflection on what it feels like, kind of to look back on a good time and recognize that it was kind of a unique good time after the fact. Like, that's an interesting feeling, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's good, and it also sometimes that little feeling of you've aged a little bit since then. It creeps in there a little bit. So yeah, whenever I think about those times, it's funny to think of myself as a person who is old enough to reflect on some good times.
Is there any questions that I missed? Anything that you want to add to?
I don't think so, man. I don't think so. I would just always take a moment when I talk about any of the things that I do, in particular this project, to recognize how many great people, players, helped contribute to this record, because it's maybe the most, even though I've worked with really large groups before, I think that maybe the most people ever involved on a project that I've put together. People coming in and adding their talents and their vibes. There's Chris Walls was playing piano, and Steve Doyle played mandolin and guitar. Rick Sherry came in, played the harmonica. Reggie McLaughlin came in and tapped, which is just fantastic. I never would see myself getting to work with Reggio. Anna Jacobson and Evan Jacobson, like, not only played on it, but arranged the horns, because I wouldn't know how to even begin. And they brought in Aaron Wright to play saxophone. Like I said, Lindsay Weinberg and Nora O'Connor came in and sang, and added their voices. And of course, there's always Andrew Wilkins playing the bass, and Gerald Dowds playing the drums, as only he can do. And then John Abbey recording, and helping me make some choices and figure out how things should feel. Yeah, that's a lot of folks. I'm terrified at the moment that I've left somebody out, because there's some that's a lot of people to bring in. But yeah, man, just take a minute to thank those people for putting their work into it. It took a lot longer than I thought it was going to put this thing together. Some of those songs are several years old at this point. So I hope folks take a second and listen to them and enjoy them. I appreciate you listening to them and taking some time to ask really thoughtful questions.
Yeah. Well, yeah, thank you for sharing it. It's a incredible record. I'm so glad to have it, the newest addition to my Jonas Friddle music collection here. Fantastic. Okay, so the new record, you can get downloads of it starting January 30th.
Oh, starting this Monday. So that's
okay.
Yeah, so that's the
17th.
17th. And they can start streaming it on the 30th.
Yeah, download it on the 17th, start streaming it on the 30th. You can do all that. I can't say enough about owning physical copies of this stuff, which I believe you'll have available, correct, Joe?
Yeah, there'll be, if people still like to hold the thing in their hands, there'll be some CDs available of that.
Yeah, you got to get that cover art in your hands. It's fantastic. And then the album release show, February 5th.
Yes, sir.
At the Space in Evanston. You're going to have a big band.
Yeah, we're almost everybody on the record made some time to come up and play, so it's going to be a big show.
Yeah, that's not to be missed, everybody. Well, yeah, thanks for spending some time with us this morning, Joe.
Thanks, Jay.
All right. We'll see you all soon back here at Getting to Know Trees Creative Explorations with Jason McInnes. Bye, everybody.